outside of them, red mountain departure approved.
Can you repeat that? Oxford 5147.
Oxford 5147, traffic ahead and to your left on the crosswind is a Cessna. They're in left closed traffic, red mountain departure approved. RV 4 Echo Victor, on course and frequency change approved.
All right, welcome to Flying High with Cam, where I get to do two of the most favorite things I love to do, flying helicopters and interviewing some of the most interesting people. Today, I get my good buddy Cam Jackman, who's not only a good friend, but he's my flight instructor, man.
Yeah, what's up, dude?
I thought
Excited to be here, brother.
Yeah, man, I thought we'd kill two birds with one stone. Come out, and I like to do this. Ideally, it'd be like every other month, but it seems like with life and how busy we are, this is what our second or third time this year getting up. But you take me out, put me through the ringer, going through all the emergency procedures like auto rotations, settling with power, all that fun stuff. So I thought we'd go out and kind of show people what that's like, but also get to know you a little bit more. So
awesome, man. Yeah, super excited. You know, met Cam, like probably 3 or 4 years ago, hit me up. Wanted to get some training and stuff like that. I've been flying for, dude, it's been almost 20 years now, if you can believe that, brother.
Bro, and you just got out of it, but before we get into that, I don't think I knew this, like what started your passion for aviation? Did your dad fly? Because that's how I got started, but like what made you want to fly?
Like in the family, as far as that goes, my grandpa, he flew a fixed wing in the war, but he never like continued as a career. Like it made him super sick.
Really?
So yeah, he got out and did nothing with aviation. So that's really the only tie, as far as family goes. But for me, dude, I don't know. I was always obsessed with helicopters from the time I was a kid. I remember in kindergarten, a helicopter landed at my school, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. It was actually Samaritan Aerovac back in the day, which actually turned out to be the same company that I worked for 16 years.
That's crazy.
But my plan was to go in the Coast Guard, but I got married super young and decided against the military route.
So did you get your fixed wing too, or no?
I did, but later. I just went straight to flight school.
Okay.
This was back in like 2004, 2005-ish.
Okay. Dang, we were like training at the same time.
Were you?
That's when I started getting my license in 2005.
Yeah, it was the same, dude. So you've been flying the same amount of time, brother.
That's embarrassing, man. You're like 10 times. You're like 100 times the pilot I am.
Whatever. I just decided to do it full time, brother.
Oh man. Well, dude, tell us about your career, because I think it's super interesting. You got to see some crazy stuff. Tell us a little bit about it. And we're coming up on Sycamore, which let's get into, the emergency. I see you, reaching for the collective. You're just going to drop the power on me.
Nah, bro.
I got to look out for it, man. But, tell us about your career, like kind of how it started and where you ended up.
Yeah, so I started flying, 2004. A lot of the reason I decided to go civilian was because I had talked to a lot of people that were in the military, and they'd been in for 10, 12 years. And when they, decided to leave the military, they only had, 1,500 hours over 10 years. And so I was kind of like, dang, dude, that's a long time. Yeah. Although it would be super cool, obviously, to serve your country, fly really cool aircraft, Black Hawks and Apaches and, Kiowas, all the cool stuff.
Right.
But just for, timing and my family dynamic, I started looking into civilian flight schools. At the time, dude, banks were just throwing money, man, for student loans. So
let's just clarify, what that means, civilian.
Civilian means you can. There's really two ways you can be trained. One is via the military, and one is on your own, going to a traditional flight school.
Okay.
And so that's what I chose, and so that's what I mean by civilian.
Okay.
And so I went to Quantum Helicopters in Chandler.
Okay.
And went through their entire professional pilot program. Did all of it, dude. I did.
So you started in an R-22.
Started in an R-22.
Which is the smaller version of this. I've never flown one before, but I hear it's like maybe not even a go-kart, like a GoPro.
Dude, it's not. It's got 180 horsepower, dude, carbureted. The most basic aircraft. But it's great for training.
Yeah.
Teaches great pilot skills, finesse, and everything like that, power management.
Yep.
So yeah, dude, I did that. I went through the whole pilot program, got hired as a flight instructor. Flew R-22s until I got 1,000 hours. So
it's 1,000 hours in an R-22.
It was too much, man. It was too much. And then from there, I went and I flew tours in the Grand Canyon. So that's kind of the route that you go. Typically, 1,000 is the magic number before you can get picked up by another bigger company. A lot of it has to do with insurance.
Okay.
But yeah, in 2007, I moved to Vegas for a year and flew A-Stars to the Grand Canyon.
Okay.
But I knew my ultimate goal was to fly air medical, fly like light flight stuff.
Yeah. So is that why you love it? I feel like if I had to guess what your favorite helicopter would be an A-Star.
Yeah,
is that
100%.
true? Like, is that because that's kind of your first turbine real helicopter and you just probably have maybe the most time in it?
Yeah, I've been flying A-Stars for almost 20 years.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I don't know. It is. A lot of people talk crap about it because they call it the squirrel, they call it squirrely, but, for the missions and, what you use it for. Dude,
why is it squirrely? I've never flown one.
A lot of it has to do with, like, the fuel cell. You got a big, giant, looks like a big pesticide jug, and, it's right behind underneath the mast, and so it sloshes.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, so you can kind of feel that.
That's weird.
But once you get a few hours in it, man,
it just becomes the
everybody
norm.
loves them, yeah. So, should we integrate some training, or you want to keep talking?
No, let's get into it while we're talking, man. We can multitask, right?
Yeah, for sure. All right, dude, let's come around. Let's line up straight up for this wash. Let's just do a straight in auto, dude, just for review. We'll be, 80 to 100 knots, in trim, no climbs or descents. And I'll let you count it down. We'll down collective, right pedal, aft cyclic, cross track, pitch, trim, airspeed, RPM. And we'll do a power recovery.
Okay, do we want to take the winds at 140 like we took off at Falcon, or we just want to go straight in right here?
Let's see what's our ground speed, 75. We're showing 75, so from right here, I'd say we're pretty good.
Okay.
So whenever you're ready, man, let's go a little further, dude, where it kind of straightens out just past that curve.
Oh, you want to go straight? Okay.
Yeah, just kind of so we have that.
And just for the people that are watching, what is the reason for an auto rotation?
Auto rotation is it's technically an emergency procedure. It's a maneuver. It's a maneuver a pilot has to be.
And we can drop it right now if you want.
You're good.
To
3,
make that.
2, 1. Auto. Throttle roll off. Down collective. Right pedal. Left cyclic. Got the low rotor horn. No biggie. It's coming back. Pitch attitude looks great. Rotor RPM is right where you want it at 100%. Keep that throttle rolled off. There you go. 70 knots. We're just going to lock this pitch attitude in until about 40 feet. Everything's looking good. So this is a simulated engine failure. So we are gliding to the ground without any engine power. Looking good, bro. 70 knots, rotor RPM. You're all right. Just hold what you got. We'll wait until 40 feet. We're right at 65 knots. Go ahead and start that flare. Get a good build. Lower the collector just a hair. Hold it, hold it, hold it. All right. Roll throttle on. And terminate at about a 3 to 5 foot hover. Sheesh. Nice work, bro. So yeah, so we practice those. We have to be an expert on those as helicopter pilots, because in the event of an engine failure,
you're ready to go?
Yeah, we're good.
Keep going, yeah.
You have to, do particular things with the flight controls, lower the collective. You got to put right pedal in to keep the aircraft in trim, and a little bit of aft cyclic, maintain pitch attitude. But essentially, a lot of people think, dude, if your engine fails in a helicopter, you're smoked. If that were the case, I wouldn't be flying, dude. I'm not going to put my life on the line, dude, for a Lycoming just freaking six-banging behind my head, dude. You know what I mean?
That's the thing. Everyone's like, oh, you'd rather lose your engine in a helicopter than an airplane.
I would.
I tell them, absolutely, because I don't need this huge runway to land on.
Exactly.
If you do it right, just like we did, it literally seems like nothing.
Yep. Exactly. So, as a pilot, you want to be, it's like anything, right? Like, you don't practice something, you become rusty. So, you want to stay proficient, efficient, and, know that in the event you do have an engine failure, it's instinctual, right? You just lower the collective and then immediately set up your pitch attitude, get your glide set up, and start looking for a place to land.
That's what's so interesting to me, though, because even with us going out, let's call it a couple times a year, once every 6 months, I always feel 100% better as a pilot after I go. But with most ratings, depending on the rating that you have, you're only supposed to go up with an instructor once every 2 years, right?
Yep.
Why do you think it's not, mandatory to go out more often? And do you agree with the once every 2 years?
I mean,
is it completely excessive what we're doing, or
I don't think so. I mean, there's a quote that's always stuck with me, right? Like,
you want to set up to do it again?
Yeah,
okay.
We'll set up to do another one. So there's a quote that's always stuck with me, and it was by a Navy SEAL. I don't remember who said it, but he goes, in like times of stress, you don't rise to the occasion, you sink to the highest level of your training.
I love that.
So it's always stuck with me. Sure, dude, you could be the the rotor pilot who just does flight reviews and
Once every here and there.
just gets a touch on training every 2 years or so. But aviation can be unforgiving, especially in helicopters.
Yep.
So keeping your skills sharp is what's going to determine the success of certain emergencies, in my opinion.
Yeah, when I'm sure you guys, especially working with the AirVac company, I'm sure you guys study a lot of the accidents that happen in a helicopter. When are auto rotations mostly necessary? When there's an engine fire, when the engine just completely quits, a bird strike, what is it?
I mean, engine failures statistically are pretty rare. It's more or less, obviously it is a possibility. So you want to be able to auto rotate and stuff if that does occur.
Yeah.
Let's do one.
Where do you want to go?
Right down there at the curve, 3, 2, 1 auto. All right, check rotor RPM. Everything looks good. Setting that pitch attitude.
What that horn is, obviously, is letting you know that, hey, you're losing wind in your cells, essentially. Like, you need to do something, which is dropping the collective thrust and building up more inertia in the blade so that we can continue to hover.
Good, everything looks good. 65 knots. You're just above 100% rotor RPM. Everything's looking good. We got our spot picked out. In trim, we're just waiting for 40 feet. We're going to start that flare. Wait for it.
And drop the collective a little bit as we come in.
There you go. Start that flare. Nice and gradual. A little more. Lower, lower. Nice build. Raise, roll. Level. Yes, sir.
That one felt good.
More than anything, too, it's, an auto-rotative profile. Yeah, obviously, if you have any sort of sequential emergency, if you're on fire, if you have like a fuel contamination issue where, sequentially things are going wrong.
Yeah.
It's important to, if you think that you are going to have an engine failure or it's imminent, set up an auto-rotative profile, get low collective pitch, set 65 knots. I always encourage the pilots that I train to do that first. Set up for an auto-rotative profile, and then if you need to roll the throttle off or if the engine quits, you're already set up. So
yeah.
It's not like you're throttle chopping yourself.
Yeah, use the throttle if you have it.
Yeah, exactly.
Or the power. I love the 360 autos. We could do one more straight in if you want. But I definitely want to do some 360s too, or 180s.
180s, yeah, we'll do it. How are you doing back there?
Great, I'm alive.
Are you?
That's it, I'm alive.
It's very fun.
You feeling good?
Yeah, I feel good.
Okay.
No, it's exciting.
Does your stomach drop every time we enter? You're like, yeah.
Well, I'm always like got the camera on, so I'm like,
So
get the shot.
Right on.
Talk to us about some of the experiences that you've had as an AirVac pilot and what that was like going out, at all hours of the night, right?
Yeah, flying air medical, that's some of the most challenging flying, that you can do in the industry. I think, maybe besides like search and rescue and DPS and hoist, stuff like that. There's always different challenges depending on, the job that you're flying.
Yeah.
But yeah, flying, at night with NVGs, landing,
MVGs.
night vision goggles.
Okay.
So, it's pretty industry standard now. If you're flying live flight, you're going to fly.
You have to get used. Does that take a minute to get used to?
Yes and no. There are some challenges with it, but, it's basically you
Does
put
it
them
make
on
a
and you
huge
can
difference?
see. Oh, huge difference. It's basically like you put them on and it's daytime.
That's cool.
Yeah, huge difference. Totally, way safer to fly at night with goggles because it's like, it's kind of like flying in the day. It's like nighttime,
That's cool.
but you can see.
Yeah.
But yeah, landing, sketchy spots, tight spots, stuff like that.
You get to see the patients. Obviously, you get to see them, but what's that like rolling up to a scene where someone's been in a horrible accident? I mean, that's got to
It's-
be, I don't know.
It's tough. You got to get used to it, man. Like if you don't like seeing blood and stuff like that, a big misconception is they think these helicopters are huge and the patient's in the back. And the patient's laying right next to you in a 407 and an A-Star. I mean, like it literally.
Oh, so there's no co-pilot. Like you're right here and they're laying straight.
Yeah, the gurney's from
and they're
like the
just
front to the
screaming in
back.
pain and.
Yeah, being medicated. I've had, with head injuries, they start flailing, and you have to zip tie patients. So they're not.
You're like,
hitting
dude,
flight
don't
controls.
touch us.
So they're not hitting flight controls. But yeah, after this auto, I'll tell a story.
Okay.
One that sits with me because it hit me deep. Hit me deep,
Hit
son.
me deep, man.
All right, dude, we're good. 80 knots, straight level in, trim, no climbs of sense. Go ahead and enter the auto on your count.
3, 2, 1.
Down right out. Good. Check rotor RPM. Cross check and pitch, trim airspeed RPM.
You want to bleed a little speed off, or are you good with this?
You can just start slowly bleeding it. You're 75, just start bleeding it back to 65. Good catch on the rotor there. Throttle's rolled off and in trim. Looking money. Got our spot picked out. Just hold what you got.
And vertical speed? I mean,
we're good, man. We're only 1,500.
Okay. What should you be worried about?
Dude, if it's over 2,000 feet a minute, something sums up.
My speed would be at, what, 80 knots if that was happening? That would be like the first indicator?
Yeah. All right, dude. Waiting for 40 feet. Gonna start that flare.
Drop the collective.
Get a good build. Hold it, hold it, hold it. Bottom's about to drop out. Raise, roll, level. Boom shakalaka, man.
Nice.
All right, story time.
Talk to me.
Good job on that, by the way.
Thank you. We'll set up for a 180 too while you're telling it.
All right. So this one hits home because I could relate to it the most. We got a call. I was
Harley.
No, although I
can't believe you still ride Harleys, bro.
That out.
I can't believe you still ride Harleys because I know most of your accidents that you come upon have to be motorcycles. Come on.
Quick Cliff Note story. Yes, I've responded to multiple motorcycle accidents where limbs are missing and literally a leg is laying on their chest.
And then you land and take off on your Harley. Sorry. Tell your story, man.
Anyway, this one hits because it's.
I can't believe I trust you with my life. You showed no judgment, man.
I make good choices. I swear, bro. I can just compartmentalize super well, bro. So no, this one hits home because, dude, always the hardest transports by far are pediatric, right? Kids.
Yeah.
And so I was flying in Tucson. We got a call to respond to a 4-month-old SIDS baby.
4 months.
4-month-old SIDS. SIDS is like, I forget what it stands for, but it's basically where your kid stops breathing unexpectedly for no reason.
Dang, man.
SIDS stands for Sudden Infant Death Syndrome.
Yeah, Sudden Infant Death Syndrome. That's it.
We'll edit that in.
I knew that, dude. And at that time, Ella, my oldest, was 4 months old.
Wow.
So right away, my heart sunk. It's a baby. And basically what the mission was they were coming from somewhere near the border. The baby and the parents were in an ambulance. They were driving north. We were flying south. And wherever we met, they would shut the road down. We would land.
Wow.
So that's what happened. We rendezvoused, landed, and typically what happens, you roll the engine down to idle, and then your flight crew gets out, your flight medic and your nurse, and they go triage the patient.
Mm-hmm.
And as I just remember my crew getting out, and the firefighters and the parents come out of the back of this ambulance. The parents are an absolute wreck.
Yeah.
And this firefighter is holding this lifeless baby, dude. Like, I just remember the baby kind of just being not okay. And, you can see the mom and the dad, and they're just like hysterical as they're approaching the aircraft. And
can they get in with you, or are they going to hand the child off?
They just hand the child off.
Jeez.
And I just remember, bro, like I was starting to this was like the only time I ever felt like my emotions were interfering with my job, and I caught a reflection of my own face in the instruments.
Yeah.
And I could see my eyes welling up.
Yeah.
And I just remember being like, gotta keep it together. Just, this is my job. Unfortunately, I wish there was a better ending to the story, but the child did end up passing away.
In flight, or?
It was pretty much gone. But, I mean, it was, yeah. I mean, we the flight crew gave CPR the entire way to the hospital, and then the doctor called it once we got there. So Pretty sad story, dude.
Dang,
Not to
man.
be Debbie Downer, but dude, that one just hits, dude, because my daughter was the same age, and it's something you worry about as a parent, you know?
Yeah.
All right, we'll go fly a little right,
Okay.
and we'll kind of go over the trees, and we'll do a 180 along this kind of straight path there.
Okay.
All right, so a 180 auto, it's the same thing as a straight in, except we're implementing a 180 degree turn. We enter the auto rotation the same. The biggest thing is get your, enter the auto, get the glide set up, then start your turn. You don't want to.
And you would use this like when if you're taking off from an airport, something happens, engine failure, you want a 180 come
100%.
back in.
Like right now, if we look out in front of us, there's not a lot of great places to land straight out, so we would need to want to turn. There's a great road right here off our left side, and we're going to make a 180 turn to it.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, auto. Look outside. Good. Start the turn. We're going to catch that rotor RPM, keep the throttle rolled off. Cross-check our pitch, trim airspeed RPM. RPM's looking good. Pitch attitude's money. We're just going to hold what you got. And once the turn's completed, it's just a straight-in auto from there. Looking good. Got your spot picked out.
And on the turn, you lose a little speed, right? Yep.
A little bit, but yeah, when you roll out, you're money, dude. You're right at 65 knots. Rotor RPM about 102%.
Get a little speed here.
You're good. Perfect, dude. 100% RPM, about 68 knots. Got our spot picked out. Just gonna wait till 40 feet. Right about in here, 40 feet. Gentle flare, because we're already a little high on RPM.
Okay.
We'll just milk that. Milk it, milk it, milk it.
Milk
Raise,
it, keeping it flat
roll,
there. Okay.
level.
I have a tendency,
Nice.
and I mean, it's hard, you can't tell because I'm wearing glasses right now, but one of the
Fixate.
common mistakes that people make is just watching that rotor RPM and your speed, and you're not looking what's
Fixate
going
a
on
little bit.
outside. Yep.
Yeah, on that one, dude, did a great job on the entry. The turn, managed rotor RPM, pitch attitude, airspeed looked great. Just right before we flared, our rotor RPM was probably like 105,
Yeah.
so we didn't have a whole lot of room to build, so that was why it's kind of
So
like...
drop it a little bit
It's kind
more.
of like, well, just an easier flare. You got to milk it a little more.
Okay.
Because if you really rake it,
There's
right,
nothing
you'd
to pull there.
well, you'd overspeed.
Okay. Fly a little roller coaster here for a minute.
Airwolf too. That got me into flying.
Airwolf.
You're probably too young for that.
All right. So, what's our next one before I ask you the next question?
What's our next what?
What's our next maneuver you want to do?
All right. So we did autos.
So the settling with power, that maneuver that we were doing, the what's it called?
Yeah, I don't really want to talk about that on camera, dude, because it's
Okay.
controversial.
Okay. So we're not doing that anymore.
No, we're just teaching the traditional way, man.
Okay.
Because if I start getting into that, you're gonna get the keyboard warriors. Be like, ugh.
Okay.
Yeah, well, we'll just.
Do you want to do that?
Yeah.
Settling with power?
Yeah, we can
What
talk
do you want
about
me to
that.
climb up to?
Well, let's climb up to, what are we at right now? 2,000. We could go up like 3,000, 3,200, somewhere in there.
So what made you want to? So you got your dream job, right? You're doing air rescue.
Yep.
What? You're in there for how long are you in there for?
So
10
I
years?
I flew they call it the flight line. The flight
Okay.
line is just meaning like you're working shifts. The schedule for an EMS pilot is 7 days on, 7 days off typically.
Really?
Alternate day nights.
That's pretty cool.
So it's nice, yeah. You
Yeah.
work seven 12-hour shifts in a row, and then you have a week off. And then, if you were on days, you'd come back after your week off on nights.
Wow.
So yeah, I did that for 10 years, and then, I've always liked instructing. And so I applied to be a flight instructor and a check airman at PHI, or medical air evac. And then I did that for about 5 years.
Okay.
So any new pilots that came to the company, we had like 200 pilots that we would always keep recurrent.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, then I was a flight instructor, check airman for 5.
Which
And-
you're kind of being nonchalant about that. Like that has to be an extremely difficult job to get.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely seniority based, and
I mean, you're not getting that
experience.
year two. Like
No.
you had to have been there 10 years.
Yeah.
They know you're one of the best of the best.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
best of the best. my boy.
But that's cool, man. So I mean, you have this dream job. You're doing what you love. You just left it.
I did.
What? Why?
Partially because I felt like I wanted to challenge myself in other ways.
Okay.
You know,
I get that.
I've been flying for 20 years, and I'm looking at my, future. I'm 42. I'm like, I'd kind of reached the pinnacle of my flying career in Arizona.
Yeah.
And for me, I was like, do I want to just keep doing this for another 20 years, or do I want to try something new? And, just because I try something new doesn't mean I have to quit flying completely, right?
Right.
But it did mean I had to resign from my full-time job.
Dang.
And so about a year ago, I resigned from AirVac to invest in a franchise, bro.
Which, okay, so here's the funny part. So I text you this. So it's roll 'em up taquitos and
Roll 'em
tacos, or just taquitos?
Just taquitos. Roll 'em up
roll 'em up
taquitos.
taquitos. A couple weeks ago, I told Lexi, I was like, hey, order taquitos from this place. It's my buddy's restaurant. I haven't had it yet. I feel like I'm a bad friend. He's been in business for like a month now.
I was pissed, dude.
I
I'm
know,
like, dude,
man.
what the? I'm like, he hasn't even tried me yet.
Exactly. So we get them, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing in the whole world. I didn't tell Lexi because I was embarrassed, but the next day I went back with my dad because it was so good. And that's when I text you a picture. I'm like, dude, I've had these 2 days in a row, and you called in like, you're like, hey, get the donut. I'm like, dude, I can't do this, And then you called in, and the server came over and gave us all these donuts and chips and guac. Dude, that place, it's the best taquito I've ever had.
Dude,
You guys are doing it right, man.
Yeah, that's what we thought. New concept, new franchise, new everything, man, out of SoCal. But we took the gamble. Got 2 locations.
How's it been? Like, what's been the biggest learning curve so far? Like, we didn't think about that.
I mean, dude, there's so many things, man. I was, trying to become an entrepreneur when you're 42. That's a challenge in and of itself.
Yeah.
There's so many things that I didn't think of. I mean, I had to start understanding leases and real estate, and then managing employees, and dealing with difficult landlords, and difficult franchisor. I mean, dude, there's so much. I mean, I could go on and on, bro.
All right, so we're practicing settling with power. We're almost 4,000 feet.
Are we good, dude?
2,000 feet above the ground. I'm climbing up a little bit.
Oh, you're good.
When would we use this in real life?
So typically this is because of bad pilot decisions, pilot error. You're coming in with, you're coming in with a high rate of descent on an approach with a tailwind. You're up high altitude, that affects the performance of the helicopter. You're heavy, that affects the performance of the helicopter. So really it's because the pilot is making a pretty unstable approach.
Okay.
So how we identify settling with power, do you remember what they are? I'm going to put you on the spot here, bro.
How we identify with it?
Yeah, like how do you get into settling with power?
Well, when your vertical speed is and your knots are increased, right? So vertical speed is above 1,000 and your knots are below 20.
Close. I mean,
Okay.
if you're at 1,000 feet per minute, bro, you're screaming, and I would be puckering, bro. So basically, what you're looking for, airspeed less than ETL. So
Okay.
ETL, effective translational lift, is around 12 to 24 knots. So you're slower than that, right? So the helicopter's having to work hard to create lift. And then a 300 foot per minute rate of descent
300.
or more,
Okay.
you can lead to it. And then also power applied. If you have power in, basically what you're doing is you're chopping up all of the air, and the helicopter
You're not creating
is
any more.
yeah, it's just all disturbed. It's all turbulent, and the blades can't take a bite out of clean air anymore. And literally, the aircraft can descend 6,000 feet per minute. I mean, you can fall out of the sky like a rock.
Yeah, so 1,000 would be like.
Yeah, so we're not actually going to get into settling with power. This is we're just basically.
Lexi's like, please don't.
Yeah, he's like, we're just basically simulating it and how to recognize and then recover from it in the event you get into it, all right? So what we'll do, we're in an out-of-ground effect hover here. Just lower the collective a little bit. We'll establish about 500 to 700 feet per minute rate of descent. And then the recognition is, right, you get increased aircraft vibrations, increased rate of descent. There's 500 feet per minute. Let's make the recovery. We lower the collective, nose down. Once you see airspeed come alive, there it is. Pull power and start your climb. That's it. Engine failure.
There we go, man. All right.
Where are we going, dude?
That's what I'm thinking about right now. I like this spot right here in front of us.
All right. Let's go there.
70.
Or RPM's just a little high. There you go. Good correction. Throttle's rolled off. 70 knots in trim, 100% rotor RPM.
You see what I was talking about in that flat spot?
Yeah.
Okay.
We won't go all the way down, but let's just say I wanted you to land on that road, dude.
I mean, makes sense, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd prefer the asphalt. Yeah.
Over dirt.
Yeah, just because you never know. Thing could be soft, dig in. I don't want to like flip over. Good job. We're 70 knots.
Is my vertical speed a little too much, or are we good?
No, you're good. It's 1500. 100% RPM, 70 knots. Looking good. Got our spot picked out. Small adjustment there.
Love that horn, man.
All right, looking good, dude. Let's go ahead and roll on throttle. Go around. Did I get you, or were you expecting that?
I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah,
Man.
yo.
That's what I love. Look at the horses crossing right there. No big deal.
Oh, dude.
There's so many wild horses out here.
Think you could ride one?
No.
No?
No. Those
Say
things
I
are
won't.
so wild, bro. Hey, I'll give you 10 grand if
you
you
won't do
jump
it.
on one of them right now. I'll land right next to it.
10 grand?
You won't even be able to catch it.
10 grand?
Sure.
10 grand.
You won't even be able to catch it.
What if I did, though?
I'll give you 10 grand, man. It's a lot of taquitos.
Dude, I would get in so much trouble. All these, like, freaking, like, environmentalist animal people would be all up in my...
Wait, so I want to pry more. Like, what's been your biggest mistake or biggest learning lesson that you've had with your new business?
Well, first of all...
Employees. Let's start with there. What's been the biggest struggle that you've seen with employees?
Man, well
or learning curve?
I think... I mean, turnover is I think it's trying with a new company, new business, trying to create a family and like a really integrated like culture, like creating an environment where people really love to work, being able to trust your employees, not micromanage, allow them to magnify their skill sets and stuff like that. We're learning that not enough control or not enough oversight can lead to dishonesty, if you will.
All right.
So that's been a challenge.
I always like to say trust but verify, man.
Trust but verify, dude. I love that saying. So we're learning that in a difficult way.
Yeah.
We're learning that contracts in real estate and leases sometimes don't mean anything.
Okay. You're
when it comes to the landlord on one location.
Yeah.
Gilbert location's dope, dude. Stop by, everything's great.
Stop by, everything's... Well,
Chandler.
I went to the one in Chandler, and it was awesome.
I mean, yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah.
But that one's a little bit tough right now.
Wow.
But Gilbert's good. So yeah, employees. I mean, obviously.
Well, so why two? Like, why not one? Perfect a model. Like you jumped into two, man.
That's another thing we learned too.
Okay.
I mean, when we got kind of sold by the franchise.
Okay.
By the franchisor.
Okay.
And so, we did bite off more than we can chew. Looking back, I feel like we should have probably done one location, perfected it before we jumped into two for sure.
I think I've made that mistake.
Trying to go all in and like, oh, we're gonna kill it. We know what we're doing. We can figure this out.
Yeah. Do you have partners on it?
I do. I have two other partners.
Cool.
That's another challenge.
Yeah.
Me and my other partners, the only restaurant experience I have is I worked at Subway, dude. I was a Subway artist. Why does
that not surprise you? Did you say artist?
That's what they used to be called, dude. Sandwich artist, dude.
I like it. Hey, let's do some hover auto rotations.
Yeah, let's do it. It's fun.
Where do you want to go? Right here?
Yeah, let's go right there, dude, where it's like all open and nice. Make a normal approach in there. So yeah, I worked at like Little Caesars, bro. Like when I was in high school, that's the extent of my restaurant experience. And my other two partners don't have restaurant experience; they have franchise experience.
You're like, listen, everyone needs to pay attention to me. I have all the experience.
Let me show you how to make this cold cut, bro. It has nothing to do with the taquito, but I know my way around the kitchen.
Well, dude, I'm proud of you, man. That's big time. Like you said, at 42 years old, with bills, responsibilities, taking on something you had never done except for worked at Subway or Little Caesars, like that's pretty remarkable.
It is, man, and it feels sometimes unsurmountable. Like, man, did we screw up? The biggest thing is just not quitting.
Yeah.
But also making decisions that, if things aren't good, and it's like knowing when to cut things or when to make big decisions.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, dude,
Let's get into the training, and then I'll keep
All right,
trying
brother.
this. I love it. I love seeing you uncomfortable. Usually I'm the one that's uncomfortable right now.
Oh, dude, I just wish I could be. Bro, it's killing it. Oh, we're freaking smashing, dude. Making so many
man.
dollars, dude.
We're making so many
Like, you should
taquitos.
become a franchisee, bro. All right, hovering auto. So, just like any other auto rotation, it's a similar event, right? The engine's failing, but it is different in the aspect of we're not lowering the collective because we're close to the ground, right? We're actually raising the collective because we need to cushion our landing because we're close to the ground,
Right.
right? So, do you remember how to identify a hovering auto besides the obvious? If you want, you can set it down, dude. Like hovering auto.
I just know the obvious, like you're out, boom.
Yeah. So you get changing engine noise, right? The helicopter's gonna want to yaw to the left, and then basically at that point you're gonna have to keep your heading with your pedals, maintain your ground track with the cyclic, and then cushion your landing with the collective. All right. So this first one, we'll just get like 2 to 3 foot hover. I'll count down 3, 2, 1 hover auto.
Okay.
And then
So when you say like the obvious besides like your engine popping, you're just saying the yaw to the left?
Yeah.
Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, yaw to the left. Yeah,
Okay.
you get
Yeah.
All right, dude, let's bring it up a little bit, right about there. And just remember, when you do these in the 44, you want to roll it into the detent, right? So you got to, like when you roll the throttle off, I'll kind of roll
I'll
it with
let you roll it, yeah.
I'll roll it with you. All right, dude, hands reposition, got about a 2 foot skid height, eyes are outside. And remember, dude, on these, you're kind of slow
Right
on the
foot.
pedal, bro. You know what I mean?
I have a tradition of being
Yeah,
slow.
you got that limp
Okay.
right foot. All right, right about there, a little higher. Right there, there you go. All right, dude. Hover auto in 3, 2, 1. Nice, dude.
How'd I do, man?
You did good. I thought for sure we were going left.
If you don't get that
Nice
right
work.
pedal in quickly, like it is twisting to the left.
It's twisting. That was good. Good job on the pull too. Sometimes a common error is
They
students
just
will
go
tend to
full right and then don't forget.
yeah,
to
or
pull
they forget to
collective.
pull, or they'll pull too soon, and the helicopter will actually gain altitude.
Okay.
And then you're using energy to go up, and you don't have enough
don't
pull
wanna-
to come back down, and then you smack.
Yeah, let's do one more.
All right, dude. Eyes outside, everything's looking good. Nice.
Could have been a little stronger with the right.
A little bit. Wasn't too bad though. We could do an out of ground effect hover or auto rotation, like where you're just in a hover
Okay.
and you just come straight down.
Yeah.
She'll love that one.
Okay. Dude, I've had one experience in the helicopter where I had my family. We were going to take pictures. I told you about this because we've trained on it many times. Going up, landing on a mountain, I didn't judge the wind correctly. I literally thought I was done. Like low rotor RPMs, sounding off. I'm 2 feet above the ground, and like I have no place to land. It is the scariest moment of my life. You've had to have times in your life where, with everything in your career, 20 years, it's not if, it's when, you're going to have those moments. Talk to me.
Absolutely, man. Fortunately for me, like there's really only one that comes
In
to
20
mind.
years, one time.
Yeah, I mean, there's other like little small pucker things where you have like a warning light or an issue where you need to land or something like that. But one where I literally, to this day, I don't know how I'm not there had to be some sort of intervention because of how things worked out on this, dude.
It's because you're a great guy, man.
Yeah,
you serve the
dude,
people of Subway.
Yeah, dude.
We'll talk. What happened?
All right, so this was when I was a flight instructor. I was teaching a maneuver in a well-known practice area south of Chandler, and there's a bunch of farm fields and stuff out there. And crop dusters, those dudes are kind of like cowboys. Like they don't really abide by rules. Sorry if anybody's a crop duster, but you don't have to have like radios. You don't have to talk to people. Like typically they fly really low, and all they do is
And
spray
aggressive,
fields.
high, dropping.
And they're always flying low. And we'd see them every once in a while in the training areas, but usually they know where we train and they would avoid. So I was teaching this maneuver. It was just a steep approach to a confined area. So it's just a steeper approach angle to a spot that has, trees and everything where it's a tight spot to land the helicopter. And we're coming around on like the final part of the maneuver where you're on final approach, maybe 150 feet above the ground, getting ready to land. And as we're rolling out, we would fly the doors off in the R-22.
Yeah.
As we're rolling out, I look to my left and I see.
Wait, when you say rolling out, like getting into the procedure.
So I'm like rolling out of the turn. So I'm like, we're in a turn, and I'm like, we're about to like terminate the turn to be on like final approach for our spot to land.
Okay.
And I look out my door. Well, we had no doors. We fly doors off in the 22. And there's a crop duster so close to me. I can see the dude. He was wearing Ray-Ban aviators. He had a David Clark headset. And I'm telling you, it was, I don't know, 50 feet. And my students on the flight controls, I just react. I dump the collective, which creates an aggressive descent, and do a really aggressive bank turn to descend and get away from him. I look, and the belly of this greasy belly,
saw you
dude.
too.
He didn't see me. Dude, he didn't alter his course at all. I don't think he saw me for 1 second.
Oh God.
So I'm in this diving right-hand turn. We're already low. We're only 100 feet off the ground. I could hear the engine. Greasy belly. I'm telling you, bro, there was...
Good thing you weren't flying a 44 because the blade would have hit it.
It would have been loud. It's a longer blade. Dude, I was absolutely shook. I was absolutely shook. We landed. I actually shut the helicopter down, got out, said my Hail Marys, dude. Like my student too, like he was pretty much in tears, bro. He couldn't even fly the helicopter home. I had to do it. And then the funny thing is that was first thing in the morning. I had to shake it off and go fly again. So that I just don't know how we did not collide. It was so close. I mean, I could see the detail. I still remember what the belly looked like with all the oil dripping and the. Anyway, bro, that's like the only, and that's your biggest fear, dude. Like a midair collision is hands down. Like, I'm not scared of like EPs, right? Because that's based on proficiency.
Yeah.
But when things are outside of your control in certain ways, like people not talking or midair collision, bro, that's like that was terrifying, my dude.
That's crazy, man. So that's why you're so efficient. I mean, you have to be as a pilot, but I feel like you're a little bit more cautious than most. You know, like clear left, clear right. Like your head's always on a swivel, which it needs to be as a pilot. But
for sure,
I feel like yours is a little bit more, which it makes sense now, man.
Yeah. I mean, dude, for probably 3 weeks, dude, I was just like, I wouldn't stop moving my head, dude. I was just scared. Anyway,
so if someone wants to become a pilot in a couple minutes, what's your process? I mean, obviously the ground is the hardest. Would you recommend it for a career?
Dude, if you have the passion for it and it's like a lifelong passion dream, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it's a job, but dude, not once has this ever felt like work to me.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I love it, dude. I love flying. I always have. Like,
that's why you say excited. Passion.
Yeah,
don't get in it for the money. I feel like a lot of people right now, especially the airlines, are getting in it for the money.
No,
you'll burn out.
You'll burn out.
Okay.
And to be honest, dude, as a rotor wing pilot, can you make a good living? Yeah. Or is it going to be airline pilot money? No, dude. You're not. You can't compete with the airlines. But it's different, you know. But if you have that passion, you have that obsession for it, absolutely, you know. And even for, you know, if you want to do something, you know, if you want to be a pilot, helicopter pilot as a hobby, you know, I would recommend it too.
Yeah.
But that's where, you know, you got to try and balance. A lot of people think it's like, oh, dude, I'm going to go buy a kayak. I'm going to pick up kayaking, dude, and that's going to be my new hobby. It's not like that with helicopters.
So what's it cost right now to get your license? Is it 30 grand? Is it 40 grand?
Dude, conservatively, I'd say between 30 and 40,000 for a private rating, probably in a 22.
You can become a licensed pilot in an R22 for 30 grand.
Probably.
And that's 50,
I think that's
60 hours.
Yeah, it might be a little more.
Okay.
But yeah, that would get you through your private. And, you know, I'd say the biggest thing that people underestimate is the amount of like study and groundwork that it takes to get your license. Like the flying is fun. That's easy, dude. Yeah. Everybody wants to go fly.
Everyone wants to be able to land and fly.
But the groundwork is tough. You know, I mean, it's not tough. It's just you got to stay on it. You know, you just got to stay studying, got to stay in the books, got to know the regs.
I forget the flight school out here, but JT and Blake Murphy run it. They make people get their ground first before they do any flying. I think that's smart, man. It's backwards from what the tradition has been.
For a hobbyist, for like somebody who wants to do this for fun, I'd get it out first. Yeah, get it out of the way.
Yep.
Get it done. Or at least get to like a certain point and then start flying, you know, because what I've seen is, you know, guys that want to fly and they'll just, I'll study, dude. I'm doing it. I'll make note cards. I promise I'm on it, dude. And then you ask them something that you taught them like a week ago. And they're like, not going to name names, but
I'm not going to name names, but Craig and Rob, man, they really killed it.
Craig,
no, I'm just kidding. I love them.
love you guys.
Well, dude, thanks for coming out. As always, I appreciate you taking time out of your busy, schedule. I know right now with everything you have going on, so you're making me a better pilot, bro. I appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. He's a good pilot.
He's a good pilot.
Good dude.
Falcon Tower helicopter 74563, 6.5 miles to the north, inbound, Gecko 2 arrival, backside hangars with Delta.
Universal 33, Yankee 2 approved.
Universal approved.
You good back there?
Yep.
All right. Word.